Sometimes this call out was very well received. Sometimes they were laughing at me. What call out? I mean, you did what you are supposed to do. You are paid to do this, by the way. This is not above and beyond.
Reach for growth, reach for more. Performance, marketing, hardcore. Tune in, listen, hear the lore. Reach for growth.
Welcome to Reach for Growth. I'm your host, Gamal. I'm really excited for this episode. This episode, if you want to know how can you have a very long-lasting career, I guess this episode is for you. It's very important to watch it till the end. I'm thrilled today to have here with me Imad El Ghazal, a seasoned leader with over 27 years of experience in the retail industry. He managed to grow a lot of retail brands, iconic brands here in the MENA region, navigating through the competitiveness here in the MENA region. Imad, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here.
So Imad, I was very curious when I was doing the research about you, 27 years of experience in retail industry, different markets, different industries. The first thing I wanted to start with is, how do you navigate through the unique challenges? Because each market is totally different. People love to think about the MENA market as if it's one region, it's one market, but in fact it's totally different. So how have you mastered the art of navigating through the different markets?
I mean, first, it all starts with a team, right? I mean, I work in the MENA region, as you said, for 27 years of my career. And I was very lucky that those 27 years was in the sporting goods industry. It's an industry full of competitiveness, full of passion, and full of winning attitude. So it's about building a team, that really understand the characteristics and of the markets they are in. Every market has different dynamics. Every market has a different consumer behavior. Yet all these markets, whenever it comes to consumer trends, they are really adapting to what's happening around us in the globe.
And if I wanted you to share with me more about your journey, about your personal journey, and please don't feel...
So personal journey.
Yeah, personal journey.
Personal journey, yeah.
Within your career, because I believe that building a career also is not only about the company you're joining in, it's all about your mindset, your personality, and how you evolve along the way. So it's very important to share with me, not the concise one, maybe a little bit longer version of your journey. Yeah.
Okay, on a personal side, I mean, I was born in Lebanon, okay, and to be a Lebanese born in the 70s, you have to be very resilient, because I was a kid born in the war. So my personality is the outcome of this instability that I was born in Lebanon. It's a beautiful country that I'm very proud to belong to, but it really made my personality, because my life was not easy. Learning and going to school under fire, going to universities where there was peace, and then going into your career. So I'm really a resilient person, a typical Lebanese that love life, no matter what is going around you. And this is why I believe I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter in a sense that really whenever we put a goal, I go after this goal, whatever it takes. So this is one. From an educational perspective, I learned in the American University, Lebanese American University. And then between 2011 2013, you're my colleague in HALT, I decided to do my executive MBA. And the drive of doing the MBA is really to shift my thinking process. Because the biggest learning out of the executive MBA was purely not only learning academically, but as well learning from the peers I have in the classroom, because all of them, they are established, well-seasoned leaders. So this is one side of the story. On the other side of the story, I started my career in something that I really don't like much. I did electronics, I did sanitary ware until I moved to the sporting goods industry. And while I went to the sporting goods industry, I worked in many countries. I worked in Lebanon, I worked in Saudi, I worked in, of course, Dubai, I worked in Morocco, and I worked in Egypt, and I lived in Egypt for 5 years of my life. which was as well great. And when it comes to my experience from sporting goods industry, I'm so lucky that I understand the business from the two lens, from the principal lens, because I worked with one of the big companies as a principal, and then from the distributor lens, where for the past 6 years I work with one of the leading organization in the sporting goods industry in the region.
Yeah, and I guess here we can dig deep a little bit.
Dig deep.
Because I guess one of the mission why I started this podcast is for the young generation and how can we facilitate the knowledge to them. You said that you started your career for things and you weren't taking the decision intentionally that you don't like this kind of industry or this kind of industry you're operating in, but you did it anyway. What drove this? Because currently, nowadays, there is a kind of mindset that you just gonna do what you love. You have to be 100% passionate or you don't do it.
Yeah. You know, it will go to an advice of the young generation, right? Because I was younger before, so I went through this stage. First of all, you should appreciate everything in your life. As a career, at the beginning of your career, you should be passionate of learning, okay? While really, I did not start in the industry that I like, but I learned a lot. You know, I learned a lot. I mean, if you speak about this first 3 years of my life, I learned how to deal with customers, you know, when it comes to electronics. And then when it comes to sanitary ware, which lots of people, you know, tell me, oh, sanitary ware, toilets. No, it's not only about toilets. It's really learning to deal with big contractors and to really convince them on why they should take your sanitary ware and not the competitive sanitary ware or a local sanitary ware, because I was working for a big international sanitary ware company. Until I moved to the passion of doing what I love, which is the sporting goods industry. You know, I'm a basketball player, amateur basketball player, but I'm really, I was part of the sports because my father as well was a sports figure in Lebanon, you know. So, and I start in this sporting goods industry where really I have the passion, because every product I went through my life, through all the brands I worked for, has a story. Okay. So, and then here I start to do what I like. Okay. So my advice to the young generation, first, you should have the passion for learning, and then definitely you will have the opportunity to really work for something that you are passionate about, where you will really give your utmost and basically go above your limits.
No, 100%. And what comes to me now is like the quote from Steve Jobs that you cannot connect the dots looking forward. Like if you go back in time and you were looking into your career when you was younger, you cannot just strategize and say like 1 year from now I'll be here, 2nd year from now I'll be there, and 3rd year I'll be in the thing that I like. You cannot just like
absolutely.
It needs some extraordinary people to go through this kind of
patience.
Yeah,
patience
like,
is key.
The quote says it's you can only connect the dots looking backward.
Yeah.
After you do the work for some time, and then you see now all of these things are related and all of this makes sense. And I guess your journey is a testament of that.
I fully agree. Looking backward is very important. I just give you a small example. You know, I believe once you are at a senior leadership position, and if I want to look clearly backward, I feel like I'm like at that time, if I look at a problem, I see this is the biggest problem in the world. Today, I feel I'm like really a bird, right? I'm seeing things from above, and you see this big problem, very small problem. So you evolve, definitely. And yet, once you look backward, it really adds all these problems, all these challenges. It really adds to your experience and to your problem-solving capability. So trust me, whenever a team member comes to me with this big problem, I don't see it that big. I see it too small, because I went through it in one part of my life and career.
Yeah, like you mean when someone comes to you like with a crisis, they feel it's like the end of the world, and they come to you. But from your experience, since you have been through this multiple times, you see this like, oh no, this is nothing. This is the business as usual for you.
You know, it's business as usual. You know, actually there is no big problem, right? If you look at the mountains, what are the mountains? The mountains are small stones that make a big mountain. So whenever you have problem, they come to it like a mountain. I mean, the reality is just you cut this mountain into pieces, and then the problem will be solved. There is nothing that you cannot solve in your career or in your business.
And I guess one of the things that we discussed before the podcast was about like how the young generation, when they step into leadership, that one of the negative things that impact their progress is how impatient they are when it comes to their progress.
Yeah.
If I ask you, in your opinion, what do you think is the driver for this?
I mean, first, let's define what is leadership. Okay, leadership is a journey. It's a journey of patience, of humility, of evolvement, and of learning. Okay, so patience is key to the journey of the leader, right? I believe the young generation are impatient. Okay, where today the young generation, they have all the enablers to really be patient. I give you an example. Today, with all the tools the young generation they have, okay, and if I compare it to my time and I go back like 20 years ago, I was spending 50% of my time for something that today they have the tools to make it in 10% of the time I spent. Okay, so they have the opportunity really with patience to really develop their way of thinking into a completely different era than the opportunity I was offered 20 years ago. So definitely I advise the young generation to really be patient and to accept and cherish that this is a journey of learning. Otherwise, you will never be a solid leader. It's about patience, humility, learning, and evolving. This is the leadership.
And let's take this into practice. Let's say if someone started their career, I guess they spent 3 to 5 years, and now they are ready, or they think they are ready to go into a managerial position. They are in this managerial position for a few years as well. How they should think about developing their leadership skills?
I mean, first of all, it's not about what you think about yourself. This is very important, by the way, to have the confidence and think that I'm ready for this, because this really shows a strong, good character. At the same time, they have to trust their leadership that they are really ready to move into the second step. I believe while you personally define your gaps to be a good leader, because everyone at the end of the day sit with himself or herself and to see what are the things really that I know to grow. But at the same time, you have to listen to others that they will, with their experience, they will tell you what are the things you're lacking to be there. Okay? If you are able to kind of find a bridge between what your leader is telling you, call it leader, call it mentor, call it coach, and what you think about yourself, you can find this healthy bridge, then definitely you are ready to go into the second step. Okay, so it's always in my life, and I've been into this, and I was so lucky to work with amazing leaders, and I still do. But definitely everyone has added something to me that I took into consideration while I have my own personal plan on the areas that I need to develop. Every person knows what are his shortcomings. It's impossible, right? Okay. And every person knows what are the strengths that he has. As well, listening to a second party will really help you build a very comprehensive way on how to develop your leadership.
Yeah, that makes sense. And honestly, I guess for some people, and I can say most of the people, we are very aware of our shortcoming, not our strengths as much. That's why it's very important to invest time and maybe some resources to get to know your own strengths, especially if there is a test, if there is a third party, if there's a trusted coach or a trusted advisor, because we all have, because of social media and a lot of things, we all have this negative self-talk in our mind that makes us maybe sometimes maximize on the shortcoming and the negative part and forget about the strengths and the value that we bring to the business. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you mind sharing what was maybe a kind of a shortcoming or a gap that you have in your career that once you realize and you start working on it, your leadership totally changed?
Yeah, I mean, I will share with you a real thing. I was a very hard worker, and I mean, at least in my view, I was really working the most once I was young. However, it was not really so clear to certain leadership. The first thing you have to learn is not only working hard, it's not only doing the job, it's as well selling the job you are doing. Okay? Lots of people, they work, but really they don't portray what they are doing. So not only you have to do a good job, you have to sell your job to your leadership. We are in a very competitive environment. Everyone wants to grow. You are part of a team and everyone wants to be a manager or a director. So the main thing that I learned through my career, while maintaining my hard work, I learned very well how to sell my hard work. This is the advice.
No, but how? Like, I'm going to get more detailed because...
No, before I was a silent worker. Today, you know, and I was intimidated to go to my boss while I was young to tell him what I have done. And to be very honest, once you go and you have the courage to go and tell him, by the way, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's a good feeling, you know, never assumed. I was always assuming that if I go, he will react like this, he will do like that. Never assume. Whenever you have something, just try and check. Maybe you can be disappointed. I'm not saying that it's always a happy life. Huh? You might be disappointed. And I went through lots of disappointment and lots of failure in my life. However, I had the courage. Once I had the courage to go and portray the things I'm doing, then it was the right step for me.
And I guess because of our Arabic culture, in a way that we have been taught that you don't go and talk about your work.
Exactly, yeah.
You keep your head down and you keep a low profile and all of that. And I guess there is nothing wrong of talking about your work if you really did a good job to be your own self-advocate in a way. There is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I guess from a cultural point of view, we have this seed planted in our mind through the culture, through the education, that this kind of invisible hard worker person that he was... Leaders always see him, but no one actually sees him.
You know, there is two things, you know. I mean, we speak about the young generation. Once I was young, okay, at the end of the day, the young generation needs motivation, okay? And that's why I really encourage people that to speak out to their leader to portray great things they have done. So this is very important. Now, once you reach a certain leadership, honestly, this is not as important as once you are young, because you are a self-motivated person, okay? Today, I don't really need from my leader a tap on my shoulder, okay, that he told me, yeah, you did a good job, because I'm a very self-motivated person, okay? When it comes to young generation, they need to hear it. They need to hear, good job, you know? Don't underestimate the importance of that, okay? So I believe definitely as a young people, you need to get the motivation from your leader.
And this is also very critical, because also on the other side of the view, you can see also a lot of young people, they are a little bit, especially from... they are more entitled towards certain things with a little effort. So you'll find them, there is two like absolute opposite examples. One example that maybe your example, really hardworking, very silent, working on the shadows. The other example is like, no, it's actually the opposite. Little bit working, not hardworking, little bit working, but on the same time, big entitlement regarding I should deserve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, we're talking still about the young generation. And I guess awareness here is the key to try to understand really your position and to find people in the work environment who can act as advisors, honest advisors, to tell you exactly where you stand. Do you have any stories about that?
You know, I believe there is a difference between working hard and working smart. You know, I believe the young generation should have a good mix between both, right? When it comes to personal experience on that, I think I just shared it with you, because for me, I was always assuming that if I do a hard work or a smart work, call it whatever you want, it will be recognized by default. The reality of thing in a corporate life, it's not always the case, okay? So that's why, I mean, while I will not recall really a specific event, right? Because this is a long time back, I can really tell you that the big learning I have is not to assume if I did something good, it will be recognized. as a young generation, if you really did something good that really made a difference, make sure to call it out to your leadership. Okay. Some of them will notice it and some of them will come and tell you, hey, you did great job, but some of them will not. Okay. Because they have bigger issue to focus on. So it's always good to call it out.
Yeah, I guess calling out will cause some kind of frictions between you and your leadership, which sometimes it will actually push you in the right direction, even if you felt disappointed back at the time, but it will move you into the right direction. You know, oh, this is not the biggest important thing that you should be working on. It's the other thing around. Let me shift my focus to...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because, you know, as I told you, it's a journey, right? Sometimes this call out was very well received. Sometimes they were laughing at me. What call out? I mean, you did what you are supposed to do. You are paid to do this, by the way. This is not above and beyond. Okay. But with time, you know, you will learn that you will really call out what's above and beyond. Okay. And at a certain point, you reach a level you don't even have to call it out. It will be because you are in a position in the organization that really, if you do something above and beyond, it will be recognized automatically, right? So yeah, I mean, it's a journey.
No, I get it. But now let me try to challenge you a little bit.
Do so.
For the young generation right now, there is a kind of perception about working in a corporate. It's really bad, and you should not work on a corporate, and you should start your own thing, and all of that. I don't know. Have you heard or any kind of this maybe from your son and daughter and all of that? They're talking about no, I will never work in a corporate life. I will start my own thing. And all of those social media influencers, they try to create an image that you can easily become a millionaire, and you can. It's all about the money, and let's go for the money and all of that. What's your view on such topic?
You know, the mindset between being an employee and entrepreneur is different. Okay. So to be very clear on that, there is nothing wrong to really let your son, daughter, whatever think that, yeah, once I will graduate, I will do my own thing. If you have the capability and they have the capability to try it, let them do so. There is nothing wrong with that. However, I do believe if you really want to do your own things, okay, you really have to come up with an idea new. You have to heal a pain the consumer is feeling in the market. And then accordingly, it will be successful. You will have the investor, you will do your own business. And this is how big successful people, they have done it, right? So as long as this idea is there, there is nothing wrong to really have this aspiration. Yet, if this idea is not there, there is something called a corporate world. And it's a great learning, because even during your journey in the corporate world, the way you are evolving can take you as well to this path again to be an entrepreneur, while as well you can build a good financial
capability, resources,
capability, right? Capability in order to take this experience. But trust me, in the corporate world, there is lots of opportunity of learning. There is lots of opportunity of making a difference in people's life, right? So I will never, you know, if really the young generation, they have this aspiration, never stop this aspiration. Let them aspire to, okay? Let them try if they have the capability to try, because they will learn, okay? Yet I will believe the corporate world is a great place to be.
Also, like one of the things that was really picking attention recently, it was one of the Shark Tank's episode in Egypt. Like I guess one of the board like was telling or saying that if you're not working 12 hours a day, it's not enough. You need to work even more, and countries or nations are not developed with just work-life balance. What's your view of this? Because honestly, I was keep thinking about it like, he has a point, but I not fully agree with this. But also, it's very interesting to see a leader such as yourself, Imad, how you think about this.
You know, honestly, this work-life balance is a myth for me, okay? I don't believe in this. There is one balance in life, and you choose the balance you want, Okay. What does it mean work-life balance? It means I want to work 8 hours and I want to have fun for 8 hours. What is really work balance? Okay. I believe you decide what balance you want in your life. Okay. The reality of things, we spend at work more time than we spent with our family.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I believe the balance should be on how you enjoy what you are doing, how you really makes a difference in the 8, 9, 10 hours you are doing at work. Okay. So this work-life balance, it's created to really put pressure on everyone's shoulder. And you have lots of young generation, they tell you, yeah, I want to leave the work because it's a work-life balance. You know, I believe your first 10 years of your career, there is nothing like this. You really have to work hard. You really have to work 10 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours to learn. And then the more you evolve, okay, I don't say you work less hours, but you use your hours more smartly, okay, to create a balance, okay, that can give you the maximum amount of innovation, okay, and the maximum of amount of making impact on the life of people around you, whether in the corporate life or in the personal life.
Yeah. I guess this makes sense. I guess the key point for me from what you said is when you said in the first 10 years of your career, you have to focus on learning. 100%. It's about learning. It's not 100%. About that the company trying to squeeze you to get the most out. It's more about you building your 100%.
Own. Yeah. Actually, in some companies, you should pay them to learn, right? This is why, in some companies, and mostly in audit companies in general, they pay you peanuts. But the amount of learning you have, okay, is insane. Insane. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, now let's try to pivot a little bit. Let's try to move toward a different angle. Let's say more into business. If I'm like a lot of people thinking about starting a new brand and getting a global brand from abroad to the MENA region, it's the easiest way to make money. Like if I have resources and I want to start a business, I'm going to try to get a global brand from the US or from Europe, which is trending right now, just bringing in, and it will turn around to be like 10x kind of an investment without any effort. But in reality, I guess it's more difficult than that. What's your experience about this?
I believe just thinking like this is tricky, okay? Any global brand you have to bring to our region should have a cultural relevance, right? And once I say cultural relevance, is not related to one country in the MENA region. It's related to multiple countries. What works in one country, maybe it will not work in another country. And one of the main things that, especially whenever you work with big brands, whenever you speak about MENA region or Africa or Middle East, this is not one country. This is not EU, right? This is a multiple country with different
cultures,
different currencies, different ease to entry to the market, the different dynamics. So it's not that easy. I believe the main research you have to make is this global brand you want to bring to the MENA region. You have to make sure that it's relevant to the country you live in. Okay, because it can work in one of the countries in the Middle East, but maybe it will not work to other country because culturally it's really not relevant. Okay, and we can speak about the culturally for many aspects, but it's not that easy. Yet, if you choose the right brand that has the cultural relevance, that's as well coping with the global trends, and if you have the right operating model to bring this brand to the region, definitely it might do the 10x you are speaking about.
And here there are 2 points I want to cover. The number one, let's say if a business owner reach out to you like, hey, Imad, I have this brand, global brand that has the cultural relevance. What kind of processes that you suggest me to do in order to ensure that I will achieve the 10x or the 100x that I'm expecting?
So first, as an advisor, I mean, at the end of the day, there are 3 steps you have to follow. First of all, what is the market entry strategy? I mean, for example, today, if really you want to create a halo effect for any brand, you have to be in the key cities. I mean, for instance, Dubai is a key city. Any brand that really needs to have a relevance in the MENA region, definitely it has to be a Dubai. It create a halo effect around. So this is, he has to define what is the city that create this halo effect for this brand. This is one. The second thing is definitely have a strategic plan which market you have to tackle first based on the potential of the market, based on the historical data of the market, and based on the consumer of this market. This is the second thing. And the third thing, I have to really understand his operating model, what type of brand he's talking about, what's the origin of this brand. And since you said it's culturally relevant to us, I will help him to create the operating model to really do this, to really penetrate the market and do the 10x. Okay, so any brands you have to bring to this region, once you cover all what we speak, is basically then defining what are the strategic pillars of these brands, what is the operating model of the brand, and then what is your tolerance? Because at the end of the day, once you are bringing a brand, you have to really have a short-term goal and a long-term goal. Are you looking for quick wins, or you're looking for a long-term win?
But usually all business owners will say, I'm looking for both. I want to achieve the quick win and the long-term win.
Actually, it's a mix. It's a mixed bag. Okay, you should have the leader that lives in 2030. Well, now in 2024, right? You should have a leader. And this is usually is the one sitting at the top of the pyramid of the organization who lives in 2030, okay? And you should have the leader who lives in 2024, who do the day-to-day work, okay? And definitely he should have the bridge, okay, between the team working for 24 and 2030 to really understand where the vision of the organization is going. Once it's there, then short-term and long-term wins will be met.
Okay, now let's move a little bit towards the differences between the countries in the MENA region. So a lot of brands that they already established in the UAE and they want to expand to Saudi, they think it's the same game. But in fact, it's totally different game. And same stories can be told about brands that they are in Saudi and the UAE and they want to expand in Kuwait. There are major different culture aspects between Saudi and UAE and Kuwait, while all of them are in Gulf
GCC.
market. GCC. So from your experience.
First of all these countries, they share the same values, okay, which is great. The second thing, no, there is a huge difference, okay? Today, if you look at UAE and Dubai in specific, it's the globe, right? So you have in any company that I know in Dubai, medium-sized to mega-sized companies, you have 82 to 100 nationalities working together. So anything happening in the organization is mirroring as well what's happening in Dubai. You have lots of nationalities. You have a lot of touristic influx coming. You are not catering to only a consumer who is living in one market. You are really catering your product to the whole world, right? So this is a completely different dynamics. Now, when it comes to Saudi, it's big potential market for the future, and Saudi is going into a very fast dynamic change, and by default as well the consumer is as well changing in Saudi. However, in Saudi it's more towards the local Saudis who are working in this market. In Saudi, I mean 90% of the workforce is now Saudis, right? So definitely it's you are catering to the consumer who is really living in this market, to the Saudis, okay? And you have to respect their culture, you have to respect their values, and you have to respect what type of brands will connect to these to the culture and the values they have in the Saudi market. Yet you see Saudi now is shifting. I mean, Saudi in terms of tourism is shifting. Saudi in terms of sports is shifting. So, and you have to be ready for this changes that is coming in the future of this beautiful market.
I guess what you're saying is relevant, especially when you look at from my experience when it comes, for example, to digital marketing and paid ads. The way that we do paid marketing, let's say, take an example, the ads that you see online, for the UAE market, it's always fails when exactly the same when you run the same type of ad in Saudi or in Kuwait. Let me explain. Usually, since you said UAE and Dubai is global, so we run English ads and Arabic ads. But trying to run an English ads in the Saudi market, it's totally disastrous. People will not only not convert, but they also have this idea that you are a foreigner brand. And not all the countries in the GCC are accepting foreigner brands versus local brands. And here comes to mind Kuwait. Like, for example, there are specific types of ads that it's working really well. Like, the carousel ads that you see on Facebook or on Instagram that you scroll right and you see the different products. Kuwaitis, when they see this ad, they think it's Alibaba. They think it's a Chinese kind of company. They don't think about it as local brands. Local brands in the Kuwaiti market, which they love to buy from, is always about influencer marketing. It's all about stories and all of that. So those are the kind of things that was like looking for. Maybe there is some kind of practice that's working here, but when you try to apply it on another market, it's not working.
Every market should have a curated approach. Okay. I believe the relevance of the language is very important. And you're absolutely right. In a market like Saudi, the Arabic language is very important, right? And even if you see most of the major e-com players in the region, the percentage of people using the Arabic language is insane, right? So this is a market that really use the Arabic language as a mean of communication. Yet, okay, you can do this English communication for different type of consumer in the same market. Now, once you mentioned about Kuwait really is very influencer driven market. The Kuwaitis really, they like to really aspire to key figures in Kuwait, to really follow them and tell them what's going on around the world in terms of trends and everything. And this is so special approach that really Kuwaiti market is really leading in terms of influencers in the Arab world.
Yeah, and I guess I remember the unique thing about Kuwait is that they love sarcastic kind of ads so much.
Yeah.
So even it was a bold move back in one of my experiences that we actually decided to run meme ads.
Yeah.
It's a joke. The ad itself is a joke, but we're showing the product next to it, and it worked really well. And if we try to do the same here in Dubai and maybe on Saudi, people...
It's different reaction.
It will be totally different.
I think in the sarcastic part, Egypt will lead.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Egypt will lead. You have very cool approach for all these type of social advertising or whatever. I believe Egypt will win in this case.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah? Now let me take you back to Egypt.
Oh my God.
You told me about your experience when you were actually managing a very big company in Egypt and during the revolution to 2011, right? And walk me, I don't want to burn it out. I will leave you tell me the story again about how you looked into the crisis and you turned it into an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I lived in Egypt for 5 years, so I'm so connected to the country. And Egypt for me, there is a Hollywood and Bollywood. While I was a childhood, we were only watching Egyptian Arabic movies, right? So there is this emotional connection to Egypt. I lived in Egypt and I had the pleasure to really work 5 years in Egypt. And Egypt is really first the gateway of the African market, of the North African market, definitely. Now, when it comes to the experience I had, now I had, of course, the experience where there was a revolution and instability in Egyptian market. Be it Lebanese, I did not really was scared, right? Yeah. So I managed the situation well from a personal perspective. Now, when it comes to business perspective, once the revolution happened, lots of brands started to react quickly. Okay, they started to cancel all their future orders. We work in the sporting goods industry. Always 6 months in advance you make your orders. At that time it was January, so it was technically spring 11 order books. So all the brands started to really cancel all their orders from their principal. And there was a panic in the market, and people really don't know what would happen, right? By 29 of January-ish, or if I don't recall correctly, but maybe end of January-ish, this is where a bold decision have been taken. And technically speaking, with lots of data analytics, at that time it was from the General Organization of Import and Export, we noticed that the level of importation across all fashion and sports brand is drastically dropping. And this is where we took a bold decision to not cancel anything and bring everything to the market in the month of February, where definitely it was turning the crisis into opportunity. And at that time, you were the only brand having products and fresh product in the market, because the turnaround in Egypt in February was very fast and the market was super stable. And this is a good example of how you can turn a big crisis into opportunity. It's a crisis of a force majeure at that time. Yet there is always space to turn this into great opportunity. And then finally, we really get a big recognition, global recognition, actually, because of this crisis management. And this, and you know, while I'm showing only this great aspect of it, but as well, there was lots of leadership in that. We were having expats in the country. And at that time, I was personally taking every expat myself to the airport and sending him to his own country. And I was the last one that left the country on 29 of January. This is where, once we went to Dubai at that time, we took all the decisions. What shall we do? And this is where really, once you have a leadership that trusts you and that trusts the team, and sometimes, you know, beside the data, there is some intuition that as well play a role. Is it a right or a wrong decision? But it paid back.
I guess this is very interesting, and allow me to break it down. So there was a crisis in the market, revolution, and the reaction from the market that everyone is panicking, and all the major retailers, they decided we are going to pull off.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah. And the risky part, I guess the brilliance of your decision, this was your decision that you are going to actually double in. You're going, because you understand that back then, Egypt was 90 million in terms of population, and there's a demand that has to be sustained and has to be fulfilled. And you were able not only to have the courage to take the decision while all your peers from the different companies are pulling off. So basically, more or less, I guess it was in your mind that you're risking your career.
Yeah.
Because if it didn't, it's not only one season that's going to be not sold or this, but you'll be the one who decided to go against.
I'll be blamed. Yeah.
Against all your peers.
Yeah.
And you know it by data. And you decided to go the other way around, which also a testament of courage and leadership when they act together. And after this, when the decision went well, I guess it was the recognition that came from a global perspective. And I guess the key silver line here is that we all have to be data-driven, but also we need to understand sometimes that innovation doesn't come from data. Data is only guiding you, but if you're only following data, there will be a limit.
I agree.
Yeah, that's why it's very important. And I really like that you mentioned intuition, that you have sometimes to trust that, because innovation ideally comes from intuition, and then you build the process in order with data to make it. So I think this is an amazing story. Now, trust. Is trust in a business, when you have a leadership team and you have big teams and all of that, is trust given 100%, or is it given gradually over time?
If you are part of a team, you know, there is two parts of leadership. You know, there is the leadership that tell you, I will build the trust. And there's a leadership that will tell you, I will give you 100% of the trust and I deduct. Okay. I believe today market dynamics needs a leader that gives 100% the trust. Okay, not the one that build the trust. This is your team. You are building your team. You are setting the goal of the team. You are setting the team culture, right? You are with the team culture as well. You are not controlling actually. You are building a healthy behavior, how the team will deal with each other. So you should give 100% trust. There is no time to build trust. The market is so dynamic. The consumers are so dynamics. I came from an era where the consumers have loyalty to the brand. Today, the consumer has a loyalty to the trend, not to the brand anymore. So you should give 100% the trust to your team and not build the trust.
So basically, I guess from a practical point of view, I guess it's very important to think what is the maximum thing that we're going to lose with each approach. With giving 100% of trust, yeah, sometimes some mistakes can happen.
Absolutely.
But the biggest risk that you try to mitigate with this kind of approach, that you try to be relevant to the market, you try to be super quick. And I guess that's the overall strategy here, that quick is better than perfect.
Yeah, but what are the consequences? You will have a failure. You should accept the failure. If you are as a leader, if really you live in this bubble that I will never fail, then this is really for a leadership, this is really a disaster, honestly speaking. While you give 100% the trust, of course there is a risk behind it, 100%. And what is the risk? Sometimes you might fail, okay? You have to believe that you will not, but if it happens, as well as a bonded team, you stand up again, you fight again, and then you learn from this failure.
But what prevents people on the top leadership to give 100% of the trust, in your opinion?
Fear of failure. While every leader speak about how they cherish and they encourage people to learn from their failure, the reality of things, leaders fear the failure and love the success. Okay? This is it, as simple.
And in your journey, and I guess we are all human beings, we have been through this. And I guess, especially when you are new into leadership or you have a very big business, and I guess the stakes are so high, you want to play a little bit a secure game, maybe at least for a short period of time, then you can take more risk. But how did you overcome this within yourself?
You mean the failure?
The fear of failure to prevent you of taking risk or giving 100% of trust.
Yeah. Once you are through the leadership journey, okay, I definitely went into lots of mistakes. And I definitely went into the era that I don't trust people 100%. I want to build the trust. Okay. This is where today I changed, right? Now, what was driving me at that time is definitely the fear of failure. I don't want really to feel ashamed. I don't want to let my CEO or MD feels disappointed from me. So all this is purely emotions and the human emotions. So that's why it prevents you from giving 100% trust. You start to go into the details of the details. Despite the fact you have a big team, you really need to understand, did you do this? Did you do that? I don't believe this. At that time, I was doing like this, okay? And I don't want to fail, okay? Then after a few years, now after 27 years, no, I can deal with a failure, And by nature, I'm sportsman, so I did lots of sports. So I won lots of games. I lost lots of games as amateur, of course. Not as professional. But then, you start to learn on how to deal with this failure with time. And you start to accept that this is part of the leadership evolving journey. So purely, I don't want to fail, Now I can accept it, right? And I learned that leader job is not to manage his team and their day-to-day activity. The leader job is to facilitate the role of his team. You have to play the role of a facilitator, and you have to play the role of a motivator and a role of mentor for your team. That's the leadership role.
I guess this makes a lot of things clear for me, at least.
To be honest, we are as well, in a sense, we are so lucky to live in UAE.
Mhm.
I mean, you think big in everything,
Mhm.
you know. Everything in UAE is about thinking big.
Mhm.
You see, everything is about really thinking big. So definitely the mentality as well, it's kind of impacted about everything around you.
Mhm.
You know, once you live in a country where there is a vision, once you see in a country where in a desert you are having the biggest touristic influx, so really you think big.
Mhm. Now, if I can take you a little bit into mentorship, and you have a very big team, and you have, I believe you have a lot of people that you're mentoring them, into leadership. How do you navigate through this?
I mean, first of all, you mentor the people where you really, in every team,
Mhm.
you need two type of people.
Mhm.
Okay, you need the people that really you believe that this person has a potential to grow. You will work on him, but at the same time, you need the people that really they are hard worker and doers.
Mhm.
You need these two. If you have a team where everyone wants to be a managing director,
Mhm.
then there's a problem. You need this balance.
Mhm.
As I mean, once we speak diversity, it's not about only gender and experience
And race, yeah.
and race. It's as well about the risk averse and the risk takers. You
Mhm.
should always have this this balance.
Mhm.
So the team I mentor is the small circle of people where I really believe that if you really spend time with them, they will make a huge difference,
Mhm.
and they are part of your success. Because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, if my team is successful and this small circle of people I'm mentoring are successful, it will lead to my success.
Mhm.
But I cannot mentor all the team.
Mhm.
It's a very small circle of people where you spend more time because you believe on their potential future.
Mhm. And let's say, for example, like, I come to you like, Imad, I want you to mentor me. What would be like your thought process? What kind of process you will help me take me through?
First, if you are kind of qualified to be mentored,
Yeah.
okay, basically three areas.
What makes someone to be qualified to be mentored?
If you really see that he has a future potential, because mentoring will take time.
Mhm.
So you are investing your time. And you invest in time for two things. First, you believe that this person has the opportunity to grow.
Mhm.
So you invest time with him. And the second thing, and this is a reality of a human being,
Mhm.
if this person will grow and be successful, he will or she will make me more successful.
Mhm.
So this is the criteria, at least from my perspective.
Mhm.
Now, when it comes to the area of the mentorship, first of all, you have to understand what this individual wants from you, why he wants to be mentored,
Mhm.
what's his aspiration. And based on this, you give him your input, okay? And you give him the areas he needs to work for
Mhm.
in order to achieve on what he aspires. So mentorship is a journey,
Mhm.
okay? But it all starts from what the individual wants and what he expects from you.
Mhm.
Okay, because every individual has a different expectation,
Mhm.
right? In the mentorship,
Yeah, so it's super tailored. That's what I get from
it's
you.
very tailored. There is nothing that's not tailored in the mentorship, because every human being is different.
Mhm.
You know, every character of the human being is different. I'm different than you. You're different than me. So if we seek someone to mentor us, we have completely different priorities in life, right? We have different aspirations in life. Okay. For you, if I, from myself, if I see big achievement is X, for you, X is not even on your priority list. You need a Y, right? So it's tailored.
Okay, can you share with me a story of a mentorship that you're really proud of, that it succeeded for both you and for the mentee to achieve his or her goals? And you don't have to mention names. It's okay.
No, I will not. I will not mention names.
Yeah.
But basically, I can share one of well-educated people that I personally recruited, and he or she was working in a reception in a hotel. And today, this person is responsible for a big business, for a big multinational group. And I was willing to mentor this person because this person has the education. He was just in the wrong place because he wants to earn money. And this person was willing to learn. And this person was willing to work more than the 8 hours at the beginning of his career. And this person was willing, sitting at the reception once he moved into the company I was working for. By the free time of being a reception, he was learning what an operation do, what the sales team do, how things work. So there is a huge willingness on that. And this is a mentorship of a person not at the top of the pyramid. This is a person at the bottom of the pyramids where I believe, and I'm so proud once I see this person, he reached a huge career development, handling a big team, handling a big region within his new organization.
And what was the key that actually unlocked all his potential?
Willingness to learn, willingness to listen. So there is two things, okay? Once you listen to a person, you filter, even now once we talk, some of the things maybe you like, some of the things you don't like. So human being filters, okay? So to really have a good win-win approach, if the willingness to learn is there and the willingness to listen to your mentor is there, while I can accept filtering is very important, because at the end of the day, we are humans. Lots of things I might advise this individual to change. Maybe it doesn't fit his personality profile. I'm not a psychologist. I cannot really understand all people's characters and all this. However, if you are open and willing to learn from your mentor and listen to his advice, even you filter, definitely you will be in a better place. So purely willingness of learning and listening.
And I guess also it's very important that if you are the one who decided to work with someone as your mentor, it's very important, number one, is to have this kind of openness, because what's the point? If I come to Imad and Imad, I need you to be my mentor, then it's on my self-interest to listen to everything he's telling me. And even if it was wrong and I tried it didn't work out, then it's even better than not doing anything at all.
Yeah.
So this is number one. Number two is when it comes to mentorship, it's very important to have only one mentor at a time. There are some people, they are so passionate about collecting mentors.
Yes.
They think about it like collecting stars or something like that. And then they will start say, oh, this person told me this, but this person told me the exact opposite of things. So they start using people against each other.
An advice for the young people, whenever you choose a mentor, you have to choose a person that you feel comfortable to talk to. Okay? So that's why it does not have the mentor. Actually, it's better that if your mentor is not your boss or direct boss, okay? Because you are not so comfortable to say everything. So any person I mentored, I was not his direct boss. It will be tricky, okay? So, but definitely, maybe his boss can report to me, right? But I'm not direct. He doesn't report directly to me.
And I guess it's also important that when you're going to choose your mentor, to make sure that you're choosing someone who actually did it, not just read a book about it or just took a course about it or just can speak about it. Someone who actually did it, did what you want to or what you aspire to in real life. So Absolutely. He can actually give you the surgical kind of insight.
At the end of the day, there is art of mentorship, okay? But what I'm speaking about, I will never pretend that I really studied mentorship. No? I mean, basically, once I refer to mentorship, I refer to my 27 years of experience. If I want to add it all, it's 30 years of experience. And I'm sharing it to a person that is willing to learn and listen, okay? With time, okay, you will have it more structured in your mind, Once I did my executive MBA, okay, it helped me as well structured my thinking if I'm mentoring any new person in my life, okay? And I have a mentor as well, Okay, and this mentor does not exist in where I'm working. This mentor does not exist in the country I'm living in, but he's a person I go to once I need advice, and not only career advice.
No, it makes sense. It's very important to build your own support system in a
Yeah.
way that you are not alone. That you
Yes,
are not alone, whether
absolutely.
in your career progress or in your
Absolutely.
personal life. Yeah, and so Imad, if we want to close with something to the young generation or
Yeah.
something kind to sum it up from your experience with mentorship, what do you want to end this episode with to young generation?
You know, my message to the young generation, okay, first of all, be patient, okay. Leadership, as I said it before, it's a journey of patience, humility, keep evolvement, and learning, okay. You have to appreciate that even at the beginning of your career, you did not start in the industry, you have the passion for this industry, have the passion of learning until you have the right opportunity to move into another industry where you really love. Okay, so always have the passion of learning at the beginning of your career, and then if you are lucky, because the reality of thing in life, you need to have luck as well, right?
True.
There are lots of talented people that unfortunately they did not have the luck to grow in their career or be in the right organization, right? But this comes from God, right? This is we cannot
Tawfiq, yeah.
influence all what we have. Tawfiq, exactly. So we have to work hard. We have to work hard on our portfolio of experience, understanding. We always have to be ready to hunt, to really hunt the opportunity to go to something that we have passion to work for and to grow in the organization. So the biggest advice to close with, please be patient, learn, and yeah, you will be there. Just chill, take your time. You know, I'm saying chill because the new generation, they use a lot. Chill.
Yeah.
So please, even in your career, chill. You will be there. Okay, work on yourself. Work on the be up to date about what's happening. Okay, be agile. Learn how to be agile, adaptable, resilient. Okay, and trust me, you will be there.
Amazing. Thank you, Imad, for this
Thank you.
episode. I really enjoyed this episode. Thank
Thanks
you so
a lot,
much.
Gamal. Thank you. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Reach for growth, reach for more. Before this, marketing, hunting, core. Tune in, listen, hear the